roll on to the second game of the week. We got the San Francisco 49ers traveling all the way to the East Coast to Rick's New York Giants.
Let's go. Brian, we're looking at a 1 o'clock start time in New Jersey. Looks like chance of rain showers, like it's going to be the common theme all weekend, unfortunately. And 55 degrees. So not great weather. San Francisco coming from California, hopefully it'll be cold and the Giants will have a competitive advantage. We'll see.
Yeah, this game was kind of odd to me. The loss of Scadaboo is probably going to take a lot of that thrill away from the Giants. I don't know how they're going to fully recover from it. And San Francisco's just been kind of weird this year. A lot of injuries, too many. I'm sure you've seen the memes of all the guys, rolling in the field with their wheelchairs and their crutches. But of course, with the 49ers, you have to have Christian McCaffrey. You can't. I mean, he's the do-it-all back. I would never not start Christian McCaffrey, no matter what the matchup is, or no matter how bad the team is.
You got Jackson Dart up here to start as the quarterback. You would suggest that he plays. They're predicting 200 passing yards and a half touchdown and 32 rushing yards. As a Giants fan, I love having Dart. I think he's a bright spot for the team. I worry about his running. Without Scadaboo being there, we got Tyrone Tracy, who you believe is going to have a great game, which I'm, of course, a pessimist since I'm a Giants fan. I think Tracy, he got his shoulder separated 3 weeks ago. Came back pretty quickly from that. I thought he was going to be out longer. We all know what happened to my boy Cam. Unfortunately, let's hope he's ready for next year. I think he'll get the work. They do have Devin Singletary, who's the coach's favorite, that can steal some goal line carries and stuff from what you have on your sleeper list.
He's my sleeper guy.
I'm hoping the Giants can keep the game close enough to run the ball because San Fran has that. And then Mr. McCaffrey, one of the main reasons I make no, Brian, because of McCaffrey, they let him slip to me.
Yep.
And he's been a beast. Last week he didn't do too well. I think he had 25 rushing yards and 43 receiving yards. That's a down week for Christian McCaffrey. But in our league, he's the overall number 2 running back, which is awesome.
I do want to point out it's nothing to do with this game, but Rick does keep throwing this back into our faces that we allowed Christian McCaffrey to slip to him.
There's somebody else too I'll bring up later.
But he chose Christian McCaffrey, and the next pick I picked Jonathan Taylor. So you all let both those guys slip to us, and Rick and I drafted in the back end of the draft. 12 team lead.
And that, I don't know how he slipped either. We'll talk about him a little bit later as well. But you also have Kittle back from injury as a pick for the game as a tight end. Last week, his first week back, 5 targets, 4 catches, 43 yards and a touchdown in our league, 12.3 fantasy points. It's only his second game he's played this year, but he's got 2 touchdowns in 2 games. So I think, Brian, that is definitely a good pick. Really, when it comes to a sleeper in this game, you have a lot of choices. Jalen Wyatt, when's he third-round pick gonna, help out and contribute with the Giants? You have Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's probably going to be a starter for most. But if I had to pick a sleeper, this game would be Darius Slayton. He's been the Giants' number 2 receiver for 6 years now. Really, every once in a while, you'll get a couple big catches and a big game from him. So I think if you want to keep an eye out for Darius Slayton, if you're in gambling, you want to go the over on his receiving yards this week, I think that would be a good choice. So he's my sleeper for this game, Brian.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Overall, I don't see a lot of fantasy impact in this game.
Who do you got? What's your score?
What's my score of this game?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I would say this is a 17-13 game.
17-13, wow. I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic on that. I'm going to say Giants' defense is not good. Let's be honest. It should be. The front 4, the front 7 should be very good. But I think San Francisco is going to rack it up. I think it's going to be 32-17. 32-17.
I had the Giants winning.
And then hopefully we fire Dable. Sorry, Brian. You have the Giants winning, so
that was my.
Oh, okay.
You have them losing.
Well, we'll see what happens when we predict the Bengals score.
All right, that's good. Yeah. All right, let's roll on to the next game. We got. Thank you NFL for this schedule. The Chargers at the Tennessee Titans.
Looks like it's another 1 o'clock game, Brian, in Tennessee. Partly cloudy, no rain, it looks like, as of now. 49 degrees, 50 degrees. Should be a wonderful day for football in Tennessee. Tennessee's reeling. I don't know. Hopefully they can keep it competitive.
No, without a doubt, they fired their coach. So, two things can happen when you fire a coach. You can either crumble or you find that spark. I feel Tennessee is going to crumble, but so all fantasy impacts I think go into the Chargers' favor. I pretty much have them listed everywhere. You got Herbert as the quarterback, the Vital as your running back, and I think Lad McConkey, our good lad McConkey.
His father, Phil McConkey.
Phil McConkey, and upcoming Oronde Gaston.
The second.
He's also a son of a NFL player.
Yeah, I got a high five from Oronde Gaston sitting front row at the Bengals stadium.
Really?
After he scored a touchdown, yeah. When the Lambeau Leap with Peter Warwick, was that his name?
Oh yeah.
Well, it was a big, not the Lambeau Leap. They don't know what they call it in Cincinnati.
The Bengals roar. I don't think they call it anything.
I got a high five.
So on the Tennessee side, for fantasy, I really only have what's this guy's name? Shamar Dyke. DK Dyke.
I know this guy is a good guy.
Well, yeah.
He means nothing.
I don't mean nothing yet. Sorry if I offended anybody on that. But he is upcoming, and he's got a good connection with Cameron Ward. So I feel even if this game's a blowout, he's going to provide with some good fantasy, positive for your team if you have to start him.
And I agree, Brian. I like your picks. Justin Herbert has got 8 touchdown passes in the past 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, he threw for over 400 yards. So I think he's in the past 3 weeks, he's averaged 300 yards passing. I think coming into the year, you would think that LA was going to be a huge running team. Did you not? With
Harbaugh, and
it's been the opposite. It's been completely opposite. Herbert has had over 40 attempts in a game 3 times this year and over 30 twice. So they're throwing the ball a lot. So I think Herbert's I have him number 1 on my top 10 list. I have him on my top 10 list at 5 at quarterback. Tennessee is not great against the pass. They are number 14 against opposing quarterbacks. So right in the middle of the aisle there. I think Herbert's going to be a great start. Vidal, last year, if you've paid attention, you got a couple glimpses of some yards. I actually had the foresight enough to pick him up in our league, which I'm 8-0 in. And he's paid off. The 2 out of 3 games, he's rushed for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in those 3 games.
Yeah, he broke 100 last week, didn't he?
He had 120-some yards last week. Do you think he's going to cut into Omariah Hampton's carries when he comes back, or do you think the job's fully on?
I think it's back to Hampton. I don't think Vidal is vital.
He had 117 last week and a touchdown, 124 in week 6, sorry. So, for this game, I do agree. I think ball control, I think they're going to be leading. He's going to get a lot of carries, so hopefully he can do something with them. Lad McConkey, again, Tennessee they haven't won a game. Well, they've won one. They had a fluke win against the Jets, I believe. And I don't think they're really going to pose a threat or be all that competitive this game. I'm not too sold on Cam Ward. Oronde Gadsden has been a beast the past 3 weeks, I think.
Past 2-3 weeks.
Talent-wise, I'm putting him in the top 5 easily in football. But 164 yards 2 weeks ago, rookie record as a tight end. A touchdown on 9 targets. Last week, 5 targets, 77 yards and a touchdown. Week 6, he had 68 yards on 8 targets. So the guy's getting targets based off of the increased passing by the Chargers. And I think top 5 in my opinion. Rest of the year.
Did anybody draft him in early?
Nobody drafted him, and he was actually one of our pretty active free agent wire
with Jen
co-owners.
Jen
picked him up once or twice and dropped him. So he has been picked up, but I don't know who got him now, but they were very lucky to get him. Shamar Dyke with their number 1 receiver out Tennessee's Calvin Ridley being out. I think this is maybe his 2nd or 3rd week He's really got a lot of increased targets. He's a rookie out of
Couldn't tell you.
Florida, maybe. I think he's out of Florida. He transferred to Florida, and the past 2 weeks he's had a lot more target share,
Yeah.
a lot of air yards. The guy gets a lot of air yards, and he's actually been doing something with his playing time. So I think they're going to get him even more and more involved. He 8 targets last week, 93 yards and a touchdown. 4 targets, 70 yards and a touchdown the week before. So I think he is from Florida. He's going to be a major name to consider in the future. And Ty Spears, summarize on him. Have you seen the workload that their starter Pollard had all season prior to him coming out?
Yeah, and now he came back. I think that they almost split the workload, but Tajay Spears outperformed Tony Pollard. And it's really not, as I have him as a sleeper, it's not because I think he's going to outwork Tony Pollard. As a fantasy, he's going to do better. Tennessee's going to be losing the whole game, as you would think. And it's just, Tony Pollard's your back that you want to grind out the clock. Tajay Spears is going to be more in the receiving game. So I'm looking for a lot of receptions, this 2-minute offense constantly, where they're just going to quick dump off to the little man with the big helmet, Tajay.
Yeah, Tajay actually outsnapped Tony Pollard last week,
Oh, there you go.
37-33. So he was in the game more. They were playing from behind. But the first 4 weeks of the season, while Tajay was out, Pollard didn't come off the field. 91, 86, 89% snaps. He literally got every single carry. And we all know Tony Pollard. He's not a bell cow, every 25 carry a guy, game guy. So I think really he's kind of wore down a little bit. So definitely over the next few weeks, I think Tajay Spears is a great sleeper and a start over Pollard. If you're going to start a running back in that game or for that team, I would definitely recommend Spears as well, Brian.
I'm glad you agree with me, Rick.
It won't be often, but that's some stuff though. It's inevitable.
I think that's a wrap for that game, then. Unless you have
So,
anything else
what's
to
your
add.
pick, sir?
Oh, well, we want to pick these two? Well, this one is going to be
We're not going to hold you to this.
31-3.
Wow.
Chargers.
Over the Titans. I'm going to say
Titans fire their intern coach after this game.
that'd be a first, possibly. I'm going to say that's a very good. I'm going to say 28-10.
28-10.
Chargers.
Chargers?
Yes.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Tajay Spears gets that touchdown?
Guys, no one's ever right, but just remember the 2 average football guys are close. Right?
It's a wrap. All right, let's move on to Minnesota traveling to Detroit.
We're looking at a 1 o'clock game, Brian, in the Detroit Rock City. Kiss everybody.
fans.
Yeah, that's right. So 70 degrees, great weather, great day for football on turf. So I think it's going to be, I love the turf, Brian. I think it's more fantasy points on turf, faster game. So what do you got for us?
Well, I have to admit, Rick, that my studies in this and my work responsibilities kind of screwed me up on this one because I was thinking going into this that Carson Wentz obviously was hurt, not playing, and J.J. McCarthy was not going to be ready. I thought Detroit was just going to run all over them, and there was going to be hardly any fantasy impact on Minnesota. That's why you can see on my board, I really only have Justin Jefferson. If I could go back and take that back, I would probably add some other people.
That still might be the case, Brian.
It still could be.
Jury's out on McCarthy.
True.
Missed 3 or 4 games too, so you still might be right. But I agree with you. Who can you be? You can't be comfortable with any running back for Minnesota with the time split with Mason and Aaron Jones now.
Aaron Jones.
You're not going to start McCarthy, I don't think.
Shouldn't.
I don't believe in those super flex 2 quarterback leagues. I don't know about you, Brian. I don't believe in that stuff. So if you do, that's cool, but it ain't for us. And tight end wise, major disappointment, T.J. Hawkinson. Oh my gosh,
major.
Like I can't even put him off the list.
I dropped him in another league on that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think he hasn't had more than 40 yards receiving in a game. But I mean, he didn't even make your top 10, obviously not your top 10 list, but 49 yards and a touchdown against lonely Cincinnati in week 3 is his best game at 13.4 fantasy points, 1/2 PPR league. So other than that, he's averaging less than 6 fantasy points a game in our league.
Yeah.
So obviously don't blame you for not putting him there.
No.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, JJ, you're starting them they're probably your number one receivers. If you have them both, kudos to you. But you're definitely starting both of them. Jameson Williams, he's another one.
I like him for this game.
I do too. I think he's very talented.
Yeah, without a question.
All he's got to do is catch 2 balls. My Minnesota doesn't pose too much of a challenge. I think they are number 9 against the receiver, but I think that might have more to do with game flow than their actual talent. But they do have some talent on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
But Detroit's ranked number 1 in the power rankings.
Yeah.
They're on turf. If it was on grass, maybe I could see something.
You're pretty much putting the whole team up there as fantasy relevant.
I agree. The question is, who would your sleeper be on either side of the ball in this game? For me, not a running back for Minnesota. You got to look at maybe wide receiver. Other than Justin Jefferson, you ain't got too much to choose from. You got Jordan Addison. I mean, I'm just not sold on him this week.
And how did Jordan Addison and J.J. McCarthy? He wasn't even there when J.J. McCarthy was playing because he was suspended, right?
Right.
So you don't even have that kind of connection. Do they even have a connection? Obviously, you're going to feed Justin Jefferson,
of course, which helps Jordan. And Jordan has had 200-yard games in the 4 since he's been back and 2 touchdowns. He's averaging 7.63 fantasy points per game. Really, in this game, a sleeper is a tough one to come up with because mostly everybody for Detroit is being played. If I had to pick one, it would be probably J.J. McCarthy because I'm always a big fan of the unknown. You never know about the unknown. You got a player that's been in the league for 10 years. You kind of know about that player, but still, you don't know about McCarthy, and I think he possibly could be a sleeper if he comes back. He had that hype after that one win in his first game that he played. So I would give the sleeper to JJ on that, but other than that,
I would think if you did that, man, you'd have some insider information. You only got 4 teams on a bye, so then now you got 28 teams that are playing. In a 12-man league, that means you have, even if everybody had 2 quarterbacks, you still have 4 quarterbacks out there.
Well, Brian, I will tell you.
Better.
Yeah, I have Mahomes, who just got a bye next week.
Yeah.
So I don't carry a backup quarterback. I think it's useless if you have somebody like Mahomes.
Yeah.
But this week I wanted to get ahead of the game and pick a quarterback up this week so someone couldn't, screw me out of it next week. And there wasn't much to choose from in our 12-man league. And I've luckily, in my opinion, got Kyler Murray because he was hurt, he was dropped. Hopefully he still has a job there. But, J.J. McCarthy was under consideration, because at the very least they're going to have to score to keep up in this game.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to throw the ball.
And he's got Justin Jefferson.
Of course, yes. Just throw it up to that guy. And Addison's good too. I mean, he is good. It's just if they got a quarterback that can get him the ball. So I'll put J.J. McCarthy down as a good sleeper this week.
What do you got for score?
Another lopsided one. It seems to be the trend so far, Brian. I'm going to say in Minnesota, Detroit, 31 to 13. Was that my last score? I think that's my favorite score.
I think that's what you did pick last. No, it was 10. You had 10.
Well, I think Minnesota is going to get a couple field goals in there at home this week.
I think, I don't know. I think Dan Campbell he's just going to put it to him. I really think that they might hit 40. I'm going to say 41 to 13. I'll agree with your 13. I just went 10 up on you.
There you go.
Yep.
Gives me some space, and it's a high number. But no, I think it's going to be an arse whoop on.
What do you think? All right, brother. All right. On to the next game. We got the Dirty Birds, Falcons going to New England.
You got a 1 o'clock game here at Boston. Gillette Field. It looks like it is going to be a slight chance of rain showers at 51 degrees. A little bit of slow playing surface. Atlanta comes from that turf, that dome, that turf. I think the advantage goes to New England there. And you want to talk about, a surprise coach of the year. Mike Vrabel, New England's 5-2, correct?
Yeah, he's bringing it back, man.
Leading the NFC or AFC East this late in the year, which is the first time since Brady left. So
over Buffalo,
and I think they're a pretty good team. What do you got for us, Brian?
Well, I see this game, and you kind of highlighted it. It's going to be a slow kind of game. You're not on the turf. Atlanta really confused me last week. So I'm really not knowing where they're at in the week before. And New England's just impressing me. They're just grinding it out. They're just doing it good. So fantasy-wise, I'm still not looking at either quarterback on these. Even though Drake May's been a hot item, I just, with the rain, in the grass, I'm feeling that this is going to be another running game. I'm a big running back fan. That's why I got Stevenson up on my chart here. That's not on there. And let me put it, there he is. Magically appears. And of course, I'm still going to have Bijan Robinson just because he is one of the most gifted running backs we have in the league right now. And I'm looking, even though I don't have Drake May on here, I think I might have him on my top 10. But I do like this Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah,
I like his name, and I like him. So I'm putting him up there. For Atlanta, I still, even though I don't like their passing game, what's going on right now, we got a lot of injuries. They just released Ray McLeod that just gave him another slot chance. But at least we're seeing a little bit out of Kyle Pitts this year that he's not the number one that you thought he was going to be, but he is. I think he's fantasy relevant at least. So I do like him in this game.
Talk about a tale of two quarterbacks, Brian. You're talking about Atlanta last week. They had Kirk Cousins come in.
Yeah.
And I have faith in him. I don't know about you. I did have faith that he was going to move the offense and be able to get the ball. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
He looked like he's
Lost.
Yeah. And he looked like a backup for sure. So Michael Penix has been injured. He's been practicing. We'll talk about limited in practice. Everybody for Atlanta has been limited in practice this week. Everybody's dealing with injuries, as is football this time of the year. But they're all listed as questionable. I think they're all going to play. I think Mooney's going to play, Pitts, London. I think they'll all be out there. I have, to speak on Kayshon Boutte. I have him ranked number 20 in my list, my rankings this week because
That's pretty good.
If you look at the stats, he has had some pretty good games back to back.
He's getting the attempts.
He's from a big college. He was a high recruit out of high school. He was a 5-star recruit, so he has the talent to do it. He's just now getting the quarterback to do it because Drake May has been amazing. You want to talk about amazing? Drake May is number 3 in our league in fantasy.
Crazy.
He has had 2 or more touchdowns in every game but 2 this year. And he's had 3 or more touchdowns in every game but 4 this year. So the guy's averaging 27 points a game fantasy-wise, so I think May is going to control this game. I think they should handle it. New England's defense is stellar. You want to talk about stellar. New England's defense has been playing lights out this year. They've only allowed 2 teams to rush for 100 yards this season against them. Of course, that's Atlanta's strength, so if they can keep Atlanta low and the rushing, which is hard against Bijan, I think they should be able to handle that game. And then also, Trevion, I think a lot of us Ohio State fans were hoping he gets the ball. He did somewhat last week. I think he is more it's always between who's better, him and Judkins. All us Ohio State fans would always debate that. I think you would think Judkins right now by the way he's playing because he's playing like
he's getting opportunities and he's doing good.
And he's playing great. But Trevion last week had 10 carries for 75 yards. So we all know how much of a home run hitter he is. And once he starts busting those and getting that confidence under his belt, look out for Trevion and that offense with Drake May.
That's where I see him as a sleeper this week, and that's why I put him there. And actually, I think someone dropped him in our league this week.
Yeah.
And these are the opportunities I think someone like Trayvon Henderson will shine because if you see the game going the way that you think it's going to go, where New England's going to pretty much shut down Atlanta and they're going to have control of the game, is why I don't have Drake May up there because I don't think he needs to win the game. I don't think he needs to do anything special. I think they have it in hand. That allows you these opportunities. Get Henderson the ball. Get him some opportunities, and I think he will take advantage of this.
So that game script is why you especially like Henderson this week.
Yes.
He's going to get the carries. And if I had to pick a sleeper other than him, I tried it last week. It didn't work out for me. I'm going to say Darryl Mooney from the Falcons. If the receiving corps is banged up, as they say online, he's going to get his shots. Last week, he only had like 1 catch for 10 yards, but he missed two deep balls, two balls that he was wide open, and they were overthrown by the wonderful Cousins who we alluded to earlier. So he's one of those guys. One or two catches can really set his day off, and that's all he needs. So if I had to pick a sleeper other than Henderson, I would pick Mooney this week. So you could do worse.
What do you think I wanted to look up the over-under on this game real quick because I was just curious. That's what I was doing while we were kind of discussing what we think this game's going to be point-wise, or who do you think's going to win. But I was very curious. Put my readers on because I'm getting old. I got the over-under at 44.5. Which is pretty high. Higher based off of what I'm saying.
I agree. I like the under in that.
Without a doubt.
And especially if it's got slight rain on the field and there's so many people banged up for Atlanta as they say there is. I like the under on that, all you bettors out there. So.
Yeah, because I'm feeling this game's like a 24-13.
That's a very good one.
I think we've done 13 3 times.
I think there's going to be more field goals and touchdowns by both teams. So I'm going to say 9 plus 7, 15 to Atlanta, and 4 plus 2, 14 plus 12, 26. 26 or 15 Patriots.
You know, we discussed before we started doing this that we have to make sure that we play devil's advocate, and so far Rick and I have been pretty much on par with everything. So we're hoping that we have some discussions here later we will not agree on.
I've seen his ranking list, so I know. Yeah, there will be.
All right, that's a wrap on that one. All right, on to the next game. The surprising Indianapolis Colts travel to Pittsburgh.
Steel City, we're looking at a 1 o'clock game again, Brian, and it looks to be a chance of rain like normal this week, and 46 degrees. So Colts, normally, an indoor dome team, traveling to Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers played his whole career in Green Bay. I think I'll give the advantage weather-wise and field-wise to Pittsburgh over the Colts.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this is a hard game to pick out because I think a lot of us are still in this, do we believe the Colts or not? Do we believe Daniel Jones? I mean, they keep proving us wrong week after week. And me being a Bengals fan, I've always just been scared of the Steelers. They've just always been the dominant team in that division. And once you count them out, they come back. So it's...
They got Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, they got Mike Tomlin. They've never had a losing record for 14 years.
Tomlin's been there 20, longest tenure coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Probably the best coach in the NFL if you ask Steelers fans. But I think when it comes to Indianapolis, I believe in their coaching. I think Shane Steichen is a heck of a coach. I think that he does a great job. And you can kind of see that.
He's one of the best.
With teams coaching is obviously important when it comes to time clock management at ends of games, turnovers, penalties, senseless penalties like that. Coaching matters in that. And the Giants are always kicking themselves in the foot. The Bengals are always kicking themselves in the foot. The Colts are the team that's not. They're the one that are taking advantage of that. And
just taking someone like Daniel Jones and being able to work to his strengths.
That's true. I think his time in Minnesota last year was very handy for him.
Yeah,
Under Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback guru supposedly. So I'll give the credit to that, not to the Colts. But the Giants sure didn't know how to manage Daniel Jones. But I'll tell you what, the Colts sure do. He's number 7 in our league, Brian, and he's had in the past 4 games, he's had 9 touchdowns passing and 1 rushing. So he's thrown for 300 yards once. He's averaging 26 points a game, but he's getting the ball in the end zone, and he is the 7th ranked quarterback in our league.
I would imagine that if Jonathan Taylor was not on the Colts, would Daniel Jones be blowing up more, Because as we move on to Jonathan Taylor, who's setting the world on fire right now, I mean, it's not even a question of whether or not you're going to start Jonathan Taylor or not. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
And he's a must start for every game. But he's on pace, I think, right now to have 30 touchdowns for the year.
He's got 12 touchdowns now. He's got 9 in the past 4 games. I think the running game always helps the passing game. I think a running back, if you keep those linebackers honest and worrying about the running game as opposed to just dropping back, playing his zone, and really concentrating on that. To answer your question, I think Jonathan Taylor helps Daniel Jones do better.
True.
It doesn't mean that if they didn't have him, that Daniel would be throwing more attempts a game. He might make it up that way, but I think no doubt about it, Jonathan Taylor would make any quarterback better who he plays for. I mean, he's got as many 100-yard rushing games as non-100-yard rushing games this year, 8-4-4, and
he's helping my team out.
He's your guy, number one in our league and number one in most people's leagues. And
my guy.
He's from Wisconsin, a Big Ten guy who we
Big Ten,
love.
yeah.
And
Wisconsin.
people slept on him in fantasy this year. Don't know why.
Well, I think overall, no one really took Indianapolis serious. And with the addition, as you can contest, to Daniel Jones, what did Daniel Jones do in New York that made you feel like that was a good decision? So I don't think people wanted. I scratched a lot of those people off. Jonathan Taylor only because of the talent there is why I picked him.
And he runs away from people.
Yeah.
He's fast. He jukes. He breaks tackles. You'll see him break 4 tackles and outrun people. I mean, he does it all. You want to talk about do it all? What about the rookie out of Wisconsin, Tyler Warren, the tight end?
That was another thing I was going to say. Speaking of good decisions by the Colts, I mean, look at this draft pick that they picked. This guy he's crazy, man.
And he went undrafted in a lot of leagues, and which is kind of foolish because he's probably going to be rookie of the year. I don't know if anybody would be better or if anybody's above him, but in our league, he is got to be top.
He's up there in the top.
He is number 4 in our league. And he'll play out of the Wildcat. He'll get some rushes. He hasn't had any rushes for 4 weeks now, but he's had 3 touchdowns in the past 4 weeks. He's got a very high floor.
Yeah.
His ceiling isn't super high. He hasn't had 100 yards yet, which I think is kind of strange. But his floor is super high, 40, 50, 60 yards. He's good for that and a half a touchdown a game, which in fantasy, that's the most important thing. You just don't want those duds. You don't want one catch for 10 yards. That's what kills you. Consistency, steady play, and he averages 11.5 points a game. So if you got a tight end that's averaging double figures, I think you'd have him on my team any day because I think that's definitely a lost start in the NFL nowadays. They concentrate so much on blocking that these receivers, these tight ends are not getting to show what they have, and I think they're concentrating on it from game one.
You see this Tyler Warren guy, if you see him play, what you see him do better than anybody is he knows how to chip and then release.
Really?
You see a lot of people that will fake a chip,
right,
and then they'll just go out, but then the linebacker sees that and covers it.
Sure.
He sells it so much, the linebacker forgets about him, and he's usually open. Those are little 4 or 5 yard passes. Maybe why he hasn't had 100 yards, but it's going to happen soon.
Yeah, and Freiermuth, I like Pat Freiermuth. I think you can maybe put him as your sleeper.
Probably,
Indianapolis is not great against the tight end, so I looked at that this week, and I don't know if I put Freiermuth on my tight end rankings, but I very wanted much to consider it because Indianapolis is very high on the opponent's rank in tight ends. And then you got DK Metcalf. Aaron Rodgers. I would disagree with Aaron Rodgers on this list. I'm not sold with him. He does not have a lot of air yards. Other than DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, I mean, that's who you're throwing to. And if you look, he doesn't really get much any game. So you take DK Metcalf out, who you left to? He dinks. If you watch Rodgers, especially this year, he's dinking and dunking a lot. The tight ends and running backs. So I wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers on this list, but I think Pat would be a good sleeper. And if you had to pick another sleeper, I like Pittman. Josh Downs. You can never count Josh Downs out. Plays from the slot. If they're concentrating on Warren and Pittman, then Downs. Just a couple weeks ago, he had a big game, and I know because I bet on him. So he got me some points, and I almost hit the bet. Was one player short, but I've always been a Downs fan. I think he's good.
I like him.
He had a he missed 2 weeks ago, but in his last 3 games, he's got a touchdown in the 2 games he has played in. 7 targets and 3 targets. So I think you can get lucky, and with the right matchup, Downs can produce for you and win you a game. But other than that, who do you got in this one, Brian?
Well, unlike all the other games that we've been picking so far, this one is going to be a fun game to watch. And it's going to be a good game. And this might be your typical NFL come down to the last play. So I have this at 25-22 Indianapolis still gets the victory.
And I have 28-27 Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah. Was that a last-minute touchdown or
Last minute touchdown.
Last minute
Indianapolis,
touchdown?
Yes, I think so.
Tyler Warren? And he gets 100 yards?
I don't have anybody on their team, so sure.
Hopefully it's Jonathan Taylor breaking off an 80-yarder.
Well, hopefully DK
65.
scores the 2 for Pittsburgh, or 2 of the 3 for Pittsburgh.
All right. That's a wrap on that.
Another
game.
one in the books.
Thank you. All right, for our next game, we have the Broncos heading to Houston to face off against the Texans.
I think this is our last 1 o'clock game, Brian. In the Dome, the Texan Dome, or whatever they're calling it, Legion Dome.
I can't keep track of the names.
So it's going to be 70 degrees and perfect football weather on turf, fast turf, which I think benefits both these teams. I think the Broncos a little bit more. I think they're a little faster than Houston. But Houston's D, watch out.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. That's why if you look on what I find as fantasy relevant, it's pretty bare. I feel that this is going to be a defensive struggle, and meaning back and forth and no offensive explosions. It's going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be. I only have maybe J.K. Dobbins having a decent relevant game, and Dalton Schultz more on the basis of C.J. Stroud just quick dump offs. Like, I don't think there's going to be much room. I mean, you got well, let me see if I got a sleeper.
It's time to go deeper.
We're going deeper.
We're going deeper. We have to go deeper into this game
Let me
matchup.
get this here. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to go deep, Brian.
Oh, so going deeper, we are going to look at a little bit more involved in this matchup. As we've already stated, we feel that this is going to be a defensive struggle game. It's not a lot of offensive explosion. But let me break down a few facts here. The Broncos so far led this series 6-4. Obviously, the Texans were expansion 15 years ago, whatever it was. The over/under is set at 45.5, which I kind of disagree with. I don't want to tell anybody how to bet, but I'm probably going to place that bet on the under. And here's why. If you look at every team, and let's say the Texans, and what do the Texans hold? Or if you got the Broncos coming in and they score so many fantasy quarterback points, let's say they average 20. Well, the Texans will come in there and they'll hold them at 38% less than that on average. So every opponent they go against, they hold that opponent to 38% less than what they normally get. Not only that, the running backs they hold 4.2% less than they normally get. This is the Texans defense we're talking about. All the way straight down the line. They hold the teams that they're against below the average for that position. Wide receivers, 29.7% less. Tight ends, 6.1. Now they're facing the Broncos, who have a pretty damn good defense as well. Though we do see Patrick Surtain show up on the injury report as doubtful right now. That does put a little wrinkle in this plan, but the Broncos defense is about the same. They hold quarterbacks to 22% less. The one thing that they will give the Texans is the running backs. However, the Texans don't really shine anymore at running the ball. They have Woody Marks, no knee replacement, Nick Chubb.
We don't know what's going on with Mixon.
Yeah,
Which
Mixon.
is weird. That's a strange situation.
Yeah, I don't think he's
hurt himself lifting, and now we don't know what happened.
But then, so the Broncos do give you a little bit of grace with running the running game, but then you go to the wide receiver, and again, 21.3% below average. Tight ends, 13.5% below average. So all these critical statistics, they're holding offensive teams coming in there way below what they're normally getting. Now, not only that, if you believe in betting and you look at Vegas odds, let's just take a look at Bo Nix's odds for passing. They do not give you good odds until you get to 210 yards passing. Then they're going to give you a +102. Everything else is a negative. So they're saying that they don't even believe that he's going to get 200 yards because they're not going to pay you back your money until he reaches 210. CJ Stroud on the other side, same thing. They're only going to give you plus 124 for reaching 230 yards. So now you're talking about a very small statistical game, which I feel that there's not a lot of value in fantasy players here. If you have to start them, you have to start them. Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, obviously you got to start them. Just don't expect a lot out of them. You know, they're not going to have their top game.
And where I do agree with you. Houston is our number one defense in our league, Brian. So if you look at it, they've only allowed a 100-yard rusher twice in 7 games, and they've only allowed a 200-yard passer twice. And it was 224 yards at the Rams week 1 and 205 yards at Jacksonville week 3. So since week 3, they haven't even allowed a 200-yard passer. But NFL is about streaks and about, you know, what you don't expect might actually happen.
True.
But if you look at the past few games both of these teams have played, they have been some pretty high-scoring affairs. We know what Denver did against the Giants in 1 quarter. They scored 33 points after they were getting shut out. And then the game following last week, they played Dallas, and you know we all know what happened there. They whooped Dallas. Bo Nix had 247 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. The week before against the Giants, he had 279 with 2 touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. So 4 touchdowns again. So Bo Nix is on fire, you know, right now. And I also think, you know, Stroud, you know, he started off slow. We were all worried about Stroud. He's got a real young receiver core. Nico Collins has only played 2 or 3 games, I think, this year.
I think he's still out, right?
Yeah, I think he's dealing with he had a concussion and an ankle now or whatever. But if you look at CJ Stroud's last 4 games, he's thrown for multiple touchdowns 3 of those games. Week 5 against Baltimore, he had 4 touchdowns. That's when he exploded for 244 yards. 23 of 27, only 4 incompleted passes. And then he followed that up at Seattle for 229 yards. And then last week, he was 30 for 39 for 318 yards and 2 touchdowns against San Francisco. So both defenses are stellar, and it very well could be what you suggest, Brian, but just to go against the norm and to look at what's been happening the past few weeks, I think it's actually going to be a shootout, and I'm thinking it's going to go over.
That's the funny thing about the NFL. When you look at it, everything on paper tells you one thing, and then you watch the game and it's the other.
It's the kiss of death when
they
pick it's a primetime game and everybody picks the one team. We know that's the kiss of death. They're going to lose. But, you know, the good thing in this scenario, one of us is going to be right, Brian.
Yeah. Even though my inside is telling me this is a very low game, possibly maybe 1 touchdown for each team, everything else field goals. Vegas does have them at over and under 45.5. So
and you learn a lot from Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty, it's amazing. I think everybody would agree how freaking close they are in all these games and how the over and unders and the yardage. So it is, you can look at the stat line in Vegas and kind of get an idea of who to start sometimes too. I think that's what I do. I look for every piece of information I possibly can. And they know stuff we don't know. So, you know, if that's the case and they have it low, Brian's probably right. But, you know, I just think both these offenses they've got it rolling right now, and I think they're going to continue that. So I'm going to actually take the Broncos. I do take the Broncos, but I think it's going to be 35-32. A high scoring, a lot of passing.
Well, obviously I have to disagree with you because this is my go deeper section, and I still have to stay by the touchdown, a couple field goals, maybe win it, maybe a defensive touchdown. I'm sticking it 2018, and I think Houston pulls it off for being at home.
And sleeper alert for me, Troy Franklin. I've had confidence in him in the past, and he's burned me, but I still think he's number 2 receiver, Mims number 3. The past 2 weeks, he's had 18 targets the past 2 weeks, so did nothing with him 2 weeks ago. 10 targets, 3 catches, but he'd have a touchdown. But last week had a very good game, 2 touchdowns, 89 yards on 8 targets, caught it 6 of 8. So sleeper pick, Troy Franklin for me.
I would agree with that. I was actually looking at him earlier today, and like, that is a good pick. Maybe in another week because It's going to be such a low-scoring game.
There you go.
All right, on to the next game, Rick. We got the Chicago Bears heading to Cincinnati, the Queen City, take on the Bengals.
Looks like a 1 o'clock game. Some people we know might actually be there, be at the tailgate, be at the game. So if you're out there in Cincinnati, come to Longworth Hall and look for us. We'll sign your autographs for you. Chance of rain. Let's hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
Obviously, we really do hope that for our fun. And it looks like it's going to be in the high 40s. So the weather will be good if we can just hold off on that rain, Brian.
Well, let's hope so, or else it'll make for a long day. Now, I am a huge Bengals fan, so this game is important to me. We got other friends in the league that are huge Bears fans, but we all know what's going on with Cincinnati, and they can't stop anything. But with Joe Flacco, they've turned it on, and they've got their offense at least back to being, explosive again. Even though he does have a AC joint strain in his throwing shoulder. They say he's about 50-50. I'm taking it as he's playing. I'm praying to God that he's playing because we already seen what happened with Jake Browning. So this game, unlike the Denver Texans game that I just pointed out before, this is a fantasy explosion in my book. Caleb Williams is going to shine.
There's stars out on that field.
Yeah,
This game.
DeAndre Swift. He's going to have a great game. Doomsday, DJ Moore, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Up until the third quarter last week against the Jets, it looked like the Bengals were geniuses picking Flacco. Not that the loss was Flacco's, fault or anything, but he's played very well since joining Cincinnati. Was that his third game?
Third game.
Started in Green Bay, 219 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. They barely lost that game. They were in it that whole game. And then you have Pittsburgh, boo, where Joe had 3 touchdowns, 342 yards against that vaulted Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh.
At Pittsburgh, yeah.
So he went on the road and went 31 of 47 and kicked some butt.
Yep.
They won that game. Last week, again up until the fourth quarter, the Bengals played great. He still had 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did he rushed for a touchdown too last week.
Yeah, he snuck it in the goal.
No turnovers since he's been a Bengal either. So in 3 games, he's got 8 touchdowns and no turnovers. So I don't think the Bengals can argue with that or complain about that. So I think he has the arm to get it to Chase and Higgins. And so does Caleb. I think Caleb, you got receivers everywhere in this game.
This is going to be a crazy game.
It is. And
weather permitting.
It is, I agree. And I'm not giving up on the Bears or the Bengals run game. Chase Brown showed flashes of greatness this past 2 weeks, which I believe he is a very good player.
Yep.
Swift has proven over the years, that he is a good player as well. He's on a heck of a streak right now. Where after the bye, Chicago was struggling going into their bye, and they really concentrated on the run game. They were asking if they were going to trade for anybody, and they said, no, we're sticking with who we got. Your sleeper, how do you say that?
Kyle. Mongi. Monajai.
Kyle Monanjai.
Monajai.
Swift, the past 3 weeks, 108 yards, 124 yards, and 45 yards against Baltimore, which was I thought they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
It's weird that they lost, but he's been playing great, and Monanjai has actually been a good handcuff. I don't know if he's ready to start fantasy-wise, but if anything were to happen with Swift, I think he's a good handcuff to have. What's going on with the Bengals' third receiver? He's been really quiet this year.
He can't catch the ball. Andre,
another
weird last name, Yoshavash. He's a little pretty boy. Last year he was clutch. The year before he was clutch. So far, if you have a metric of how many targets he's had and how many receptions, he's catching like 20% of the balls.
In the past 3 weeks, he's had 11 targets, and he's only caught 4 passes.
There you go.
So he 0 for 3, 3 for 4, but the week before 1 for 4. So they need some help in there.
The crazy thing is they had Tinsley. he really showed out in preseason.
Right.
And then in the beginning of the year, I think he caught a critical touchdown
Yeah,
pass.
I remember
Then
that.
he's disappeared. It's like they don't. Cincinnati does weird stuff.
They
It's
do.
hard.
I think it's play calling.
It's a play call. It's terrible.
Is Zach Taylor still calling plays for them?
Yeah.
Is he? He needs to hand that off.
He needs
I do
to-
not agree. All you head coaches out there, do not call plays. You have too much on your plate to worry about.
Yeah, you want to call plays, be an offensive coordinator.
Exactly. Hire a good one and work with them, and then leave it up to him and have trust in him. Because it's just simply too much for a head coach, in my opinion, to call the plays. So really, who's been taking the pressure off a little bit from Higgins and Chase has been Noah Fant.
No offense. Yep.
You know, they re-signed Gesicki, but he has been.
Well,
he can't even see the field.
He's hurt now.
Oh, is he hurt?
He's hurt.
What did he get hurt doing?
Uh,
Wasn't playing football, I don't think.
You know, I really don't even know what.
I mean, for the year, he's got 5, 6, 8 catches for the year.
yeah.
And I was excited when they re-signed Gesicki.
Well, to your point, this particular game and for the struggles, because it's only been Chase and Higgins and Fant coming out of and Chase Brown coming out of the backfield in the passing game. That's where Gesicki would have shined. He would have just been that third down.
But he's been there.
There's
he
nobody
played
for third down.
5 games though, and did nothing in 5
Yeah, I know.
games. Fant's seeing the field.
Well, you got to look at those 5 games.
Fant's seeing the field over Gesicki.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive. He's Fant's a superior blocker. We can all agree with that. We know that.
Gesicki's not.
But no one's ever accused Gesicki of being a blocker.
No.
But even when Gesicki, you know who leads the Bengals in snap counts every week is Drew Sample as a tight end.
Oh yeah, because he's pure blocker.
Yeah, so he even gets more snaps than Fant every week. But Gesicki is barely seeing 30%, 31%, 56% is the highest he's ever played when Fant got injured. But Drew Sample's leading the team in snaps, and then Fant's second. So Fant comes in there, it's probably a pass. All you opponents out there, Chicago this week. But the Bengals have been a disappointment, I think, in the tight end. Like they have been.
They've been a disappointment all around. As
So-
a fan, it's hard to watch. But we're talking fantasy here, and the Bengals do give you fantasy relevance because you do have Jamar Chase, you do have Chase Brown, and you do have T. Higgins. They give you fantasy relevance every week.
They do. And to find a sleeper again, I would say Noah Fant. I don't think he's caught a couple touchdowns this year, I believe, right? He's got
Oh yeah. He's got at least one.
He's got 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
I think he's due for one. He'll get you 40 yards in a touchdown. On a shootout like this, I think that's. But my real sleeper is Colston Loveland for
The tight end.
for Chicago. He was another first-round pick. They considered him to be better than Warren. I think he was picked higher.
He
than Warren.
was picked before.
Yeah, he was. So you got Fannin for Cleveland, 3rd rounder. You have Warren. You got these rookie tight ends balling out. I think Chicago's vastly underutilizing Colton Love.
It seems like they are.
Colton Love.
Loveland.
So I think at some point they've got to recognize that and try to get him the ball. Komet's been injured a little bit. I know he missed last week, and he had his highest catches and targets for the year. Loveland did. But this week he's questionable. We don't know what's going to happen with Komet, but it's only a matter of time before they transition into Loveland, and what better time than against the Bungles. So my sleeper for this game would be Colton.
Do you think Caleb Williams knows how to throw to a tight end?
Sometimes I don't even know if he knows how to throw the ball. To
He
be
doesn't
honest,
throw.
he runs around there like a chicken with his head cut off. But he's got a cannon. But I think there's something missing with Caleb yet. But the new head coach is getting him rounded up. So
It's a shame that we didn't start this last week because I do have to pat my own back. And last week, if we would have covered the Bengals game, I would have had my sleeper as Samaje Perine for the Bengals. I had to insert him in my lineup in my fantasy league, and he came through. Almost scored 2 touchdowns, really. But he did get us a touchdown, and I think he got me 16 points, almost broke 100 yards rushing.
he's that veteran guy
Yeah.
that they had him a few years ago. He did well. He left and come back and
So the way the Bengals are utilizing him, he is pretty much an every week sleeper now.
Wow,
I wouldn't-
94 yards last week.
Yeah, 94
9
yards.
catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown.
And he came through. He got 16.5 points for me in the fantasy league. So.
Yeah, that's a
But
good
I picked him as a
well.
sleeper, so
Yeah.
I pat my back. But we didn't start this till this week. So, And I don't have him as a sleeper because I don't think he'll have that same impact this game. This game shouts Chase Brown having a great game.
And stars.
Yeah,
stars.
and the stars.
I think the stars will align. And I take Cincinnati. Do I take Cincinnati? I take the Bears. Sorry,
the over/under is
everybody. I take the Bears.
Why not?
28-24.
They got the over/under at 51.5 in this game.
Okay, so I'm right there.
I think one of these teams is going to score 50 points.
I got the over. I do. Okay. I got 28-24 Chicago, but slightly over.
Yeah, I think the Bears are going to pull this off as well. I got the Bears 31, Bengals 27. That's a wrap on that one. All right, for our next game, we got the Panthers heading to the frozen tundra. Lambeau Field.
It's not going to be quite frozen this week. Looks like 41 degrees with another slight chance of rain, 33%. Slow field again, and two slow teams in my opinion. So, it's going to be a knockdown, drag out affair. And what do you got, Brian?
Well, to be honest, Rick, I could care less about this game.
I agree.
But Bryce Young is coming back, so this should be a somewhat fun game to watch with the resurgence of Rico Dowdle. Let me get on the right game here. And I think that there's going to be some good fantasy here. I'm just not too excited for this matchup. I don't really have any good insight to it other than, start your regulars, and Christian Watson coming back is kind of a cool thing.
Well, I kind of disagree, Brian. I don't think there's going to be much fantasy here. I think it's going to be a slow, boring game. Bryce Young's beat up. He's questionable. I'm sure he's going to play. Christian Watson, he did have a good game back. He's got loads of potential, but I think he's in his 5th year, and he just cannot stay healthy for whatever reason. And, I don't have faith in him. Josh Jacobs is probably the best player on the field.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle still has to compete with
Chuba
Hubbard, and last week they both had the exact same snap count, so I think the coaches are going to want to split the carries up. But they did say, come out in the media and say they cannot deny the year Dowdle's having. So Chuba is kind of hurting a little bit. So I think this game Dowdle will lead in carries. He might be the start on that team at running back. His brother in our fantasy league started both of them last week, which was quite the choice, and I think he lost. He actually came close.
That's crazy.
But he did lose.
That takes you back to the Carolina D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, those two you could start. Absolute stud is Tucker Kraft. He is, in my opinion, one of the best tight ends, and especially physically as well. He'll stiff arm you to the ground. He'll outrun you. He's 1 or 2 in our league, Brian.
He should be 1.
Yeah, he's number 1 if you look. It's the one receiver that can make something happen for Green Bay. I'm not the rookie they got, Golston. He hasn't been doing anything. Romeo Doubs is the king of 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. So if you want to get 9 points, Romeo Doubs is your guy.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed hurt. He's got loads of potential. A lot of early draft picks. A lot of potential for Green Bay, but a lot of injuries as well. Jordan Love. Nothing special in my opinion.
No.
He's a lumberer out there. He ain't going to scramble and rush for any touchdowns. So in my opinion, this is going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say 21-13 Green Bay. What about you, Brian?
This is going to be 0-0.
0-0. You heard it here first, guys.
Just kidding. I think it's going to be 24 Green Bay, and I'm going to give 17 to Carolina. It's Green Bay wins.
We both agree on that.
All right, let's move on to another dumb NFL scheduled game. We have the Saints taking on the LA Rams.
In the Dome out in LA, so we know it's 70 degrees and great football weather for a shitty team. Am I allowed to say that, Brian? I don't know. and a team of playoff hopeful that can probably do some damage in the playoffs. What do you got for us?
I mean, there's not much to add to this because, I mean, the Rams are just the far superior team here. And the things that's going on with the Saints, Spencer Rattler's not.
They've announced Blau as the starter.
Yeah, Blau's the starter. There's not. Alvin Kamara is just
Old,
and they got no offense. He can't run the ball. Chris Olave is the only really good target, and there's some guys that come in and out, but they're just not a good team, and they can't match up against the Rams. And Sean McVay is known pretty much that he's going to come out and light it up. So you're going to get a good game from Matthew Stafford. You're going to get a good game from Puka Nacua. And then in the second half, you're just going to get Kyron Williams just run it down. And it's going to be such bad that I even got my sleeper as Blake Corum because I think he's going to get some opportunities, garbage yards, something might happen with a touchdown. I don't know. That's the way I see this game.
And I agree with you for the most part. I do think Olave is startable, obviously, if he is questionable or probable because of his ankle. But he has had double-digit targets in every game but 2. In the 2 games he hasn't, he's had 7 and 6 targets. So you're looking at 13 targets, 10, 14, 11, 10, and 12. So they're throwing the ball to Olave. He averages almost 12 points a game fantasy-wise. He's got 3 touchdowns. So I think the one constant you can count on in New Orleans is Chris Olave. So I think you could start him. And if I had to go for a sleeper on either of those teams, I would probably say Blake Corum. I could agree with that because there was a game earlier in this year where they played somebody, the Rams. I can't remember who it was, and I picked Blake Corum as my sleeper.
Did you?
And they actually almost lost that game. It was when they played Tennessee in Week 2. Karen Williams only had 66 yards, which was a big disappointment that week.
Especially against Tennessee.
And I thought they were going to run the gambit against Tennessee, but Tennessee kept that game close. So you never know in the NFL. They're all NFL players, and the Saints do have a pretty good defense. I don't think it's absolutely horrible. So in this game, I think LA will definitely win. I think Blau is going to be like blah. So I'm going to say 10 to 35. LA at home.
I mean, I'm going to get close to that and say 31-3. Again.
Brian don't have much faith in these NFL.
Well, plus I picked up the Rams defense for this week, so
Okay.
I'm really hoping for a shutout.
Well, it's possible. It's definitely
Yeah.
possible with Blau out there, and LA's defense is much improved. I think it's number 4 in our league. So there you have it, folks.
All right. We got the Jaguars heading to Las Vegas.
Game 11 of the week for us, taking place in Las Vegas under the dome. So another great surefire game on turf, I believe. And that's probably natural grass.
It's some type of
Synthetic. So fast playing service. You got the Jaguars, who were a little bit beat up, but they got talent, a lot of talent against the Raiders, who, wow, Geno Smith this year. What has gotten into Geno Smith? It's like he was, before he got to Seattle, and he was a backup.
Yeah. And Pete Carroll saved him once, and it don't look like he's saving him this time.
No, I think he's done.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have him on as a fantasy relevant quarterback play this week. It's just not done enough. We do get the return of Brock Bowers though.
Yeah.
That could help. I don't think that was the problem, but it's going to help a little bit. Cause
If he's healthy.
if he's truly healthy.
And let's talk about your boy, Genty,
I'm looking for him.
talent, all the talent in the world.
Yeah, all the talent in the world. I think he figured some stuff out. Doesn't help that the Raiders are just not that good of a team. You want your running back to be on a good team so they can have those opportunities. Being a Bengals fan now, I've had to suffer through that where you even had like Corey Dillon and the team's getting their butts kicked, but Corey Dillon can only get 10 carries because they're, it's kind of the same thing here. We haven't seen the best of him, and hopefully he comes when I need him the most.
Well, looking at your list, I would disagree with having Brian Thomas up there. Look, great rookie year, very talented guy. But if you look at the stats from last year, most of that was done with Mac Jones under center.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much known that him and Trevor Lawrence do not have a great connection. They did have 80. He did have 80 yards against Kansas City and 90 yards against Seattle back-to-back games. But if you watch that game, one was on a slant that he ran 40 yards. It was a lot of and against KC they were trailing, I believe. It was,
Yeah.
no, that was they actually beat KC. I apologize, but that was a high scoring affair. And to play KC, you're going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah,
So, I think that was a bit against the norm. He's banged up. If you watch, they were coming off a bye, but against the Rams, I think he didn't make it through the game. He got hurt with his shoulder, and they had to take him out. And then the offense seemed to funnel through Travis Hunter at that point. So I'm kind of excited about Travis Hunter.
Yeah, me too.
I'm starting him in our league, our 12-man league. I have some buys and some injuries. A.J. Brown is something's going on with him. I don't know exactly what, but I'm starting Travis Hunter this week, and I think
He had a lot of targets last week.
he's got a lot of targets. And when you watch, look, I watch every game. I try to. I have it on Sunday Ticket, split screen. I watch as much football as I possibly can. And to me, it's watching and the eye test. If it passes the eye test, and for me, when I've been watching Travis Hunter, he passes the eye test. He makes people miss. He gets open. He shows explosiveness when he has the ball. He had 14 targets for 100 yards in his first career touchdown on like a 35-yarder last week. And I just wish he would concentrate on that side of the ball, on wide receiver. I think the corner's taken too much from him, and I think once he's unsuccessful at both long enough, he'll realize that and hopefully concentrate on the wide receiver. But, for me, when it comes to sleeper on this, I'm a fan of Trey Tucker. I don't know why. I don't know if he's from Cincinnati. I know he's fast. He's had 1 or 2 games, but Jacoby Myers wants to be traded. So what's going on with him? He's questionable. He hasn't been practicing, so he might be the de facto number 1 this week. And the Raiders, what they do is play 2 wide receiver sets almost every down because him and Jacoby Myers both have the same snap count every week, and it's like 90%. So Trey Tucker's out there, and he could be the focal point of the passing game this week behind Brook Bowers. So I think he's the sleeper this week. It's Trey Tucker. So in this game, Brian, though, I think Jacksonville is going to kick some butt. I think Jacksonville is going to win by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say 27-13.
I mean, we're supposed to be arguing with each other, but I see the gameplay the same way. I mean, Jaguars get an easy win here, and I think Oakland does look a little better. Oakland, Las Vegas, Raiders looks a little better, so I think they'll make a little bit of the game for a while. So I want to go with 24-17. Jaguars take it home.
Cut your hair, Trevor Lawrence.
No doubt. All right, let's move on to, we actually do have a very exciting game. Kansas City going to Buffalo.
Yep, we have the Chiefs visiting Buffalo. In Buffalo, looks like 42 degrees and rain showers likely. I think we're unfortunately going to be stuck with Mr. Brady in this broadcast. So hopefully the game is good and we don't have to concentrate on him too much. I think it's going to be a fast field and some pretty good offense this game. So Brian, what you got for us?
I agree with you. I mean, we're no stranger to this game. I mean, there's 2 high-power offenses. These teams know each other. I mean, you're going to get a good game. Fantasy relevant all over the place. I pretty much have everybody up there. I'm not really picking a sleeper because I mean it's KC and Buffalo. I mean they're bringing the best.
They've got some talent. They got stars. They got talent. How this isn't the 8 o'clock game, I don't know, but. Looks like we're slated for 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock game?
Sunday.
Yeah. There's some errors in our first podcast here. We'll get those fixed. And just to let everyone know that we are hiring a producer.
For very little money. Maybe
Actually,
snacks.
we're not getting paid at all, but
Yeah, maybe pizza.
let me see if I have a sleeper on here.
It's time to go deeper.
We're gonna go deeper.
Where's it at? Let me pull up here. Oh, shit.
This is Rick's turn to go deeper on this matchup.
I go deeper. I get the Chiefs and the Bills. How'd I get so lucky? 42 degrees, rain likely in Buffalo. Fun fact for everybody out there, Mahomes and Allen are tied in head-to-head matchups at 4-4 apiece. But in the regular season, Josh Allen leads the matchup 4-1, and Mahomes in the postseason leads 3-0. So this is a regular season game. It's not a postseason game. Players to watch for me, if I were to pick a sleeper in this, I'd have to say Brashard Smith. there possibly no Pacheco. We saw the guy
True.
get his knee hurt last week. You want to talk about one of the toughest guys in the NFL? How many times do you see him get an injury and you think he's out for months, and he's out a week or maybe not even at all? And this could be the case again, but I think he'll probably sit this one out. It was a pretty bad hit he took. I don't
He's
know
not a
if you
big
saw
dude,
it.
but he plays like he's a lot bigger.
Exactly. So if there is no Pacheco, I do think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, even though both defenses are very good. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, and if they're passing the ball, Rashard Smith, the rookie, they're counting on him more. They're giving him more and more each game, and he is definitely their passing back on the team. So I think he will probably lead snap count in this game if Pacheco doesn't go. And also Travis Kelce, if it is raining, if it is, somewhat cold there, I think the intermittent routes over the middle is going to be tough. And Kelce, against the Buffalo, has played 8 games in his career in the regular season, and he has 448 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he's averaging 50 yards and a half a touchdown a game. So I think he's good for 50 and a touchdown. Just give him 50 and a touchdown. For Buffalo, Khalil Shakur, he stepped up last week.
Sure did.
He hasn't been playing well all week or all year long. Really, nobody for Buffalo has been in the receiving core, and I think that's where they're going to fall short against Kansas City. They really, other than James Cook at running back, who is a monster, he signed a new contract, and I predicted him to be one of the fantasy's top players. Him or Bijan were my 2 picks, and it looks like I was right there with my choice, but he is a monster. I think he'll definitely help ease some of the load off of Josh Allen in this game. Khalil Shakur, again, he's coming on, and he's really Josh's security blanket over the middle, and he has been for years. He's just not he's not going to catch a lot of air yards. He's not going to catch 40, 50-yard passes, but he'll work a 10, 15-yard pass over the middle and catch 6 to 8 passes a game. Then you got Dalton Kincaid, which a lot of people are high on Dalton Kincaid. I'm not. If you look at the snap counts, I think he might be 3rd on the team. Dawson Knox out-snaps him. Yeah. And in my opinion, I think Dawson Knox is kind of a sleeper for Buffalo. In 4 games I think he's played against Buffalo, he's got 13 catches for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's good for half a touchdown and like 30 yards. Give him a touchdown on 40 yards this game. Dawson Knox for me is a good plug and play if you need him. I want to talk about passing props for all you bettors out there, because I think, Kareem Hunt he's good. I don't think he's going to run for 100 yards. He's more like a 2-yard per carry guy. Yeah. So I don't know. Cook, if you look at Kansas City, they're very stout against the run. Cook's very good, but I think Casey might be able to wrangle him. So I think it's going to be more passing. I think it's going to be more passing in this game. Mahomes' passing over-under is 269. I like the over. What do you like?
I like definitely the over.
Josh Allen is 229, and I like the over on Josh Allen, 229 passing.
Jeez.
What do you think?
Yeah, Josh Allen almost screwed me last week with his it was like 237.
Well,
it's over. He didn't hit it. He didn't hit it.
Oh,
yeah, and luckily I cashed out.
Oh, really?
I took the cash out on a three parlay pick.
Experience of a gambler there, folks.
But for this matchup
against Kansas City,
it has to go over. Yeah.
James Cook's rushing is 73 yards. Like I said, I think they can contain him. I'm a huge James Cook fan. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be an under on this game. Rashee Rice's receiving is 70. I like the over on that. I think he has been a stud. I mean, the past 6 games he's played over 3 years has been pretty much top notch in the league. He'd be probably top 3 receiver. So I think he'll hit the over. I think he's going to be the difference in this game. Xavier Worthy's at 46. With Rashee Rice coming back and Kelce having a big game, in my opinion, I like the under on Xavier Worthy. Travis Kelce's over-under is not listed, but I like the over. I think it's like 55. It's Khalil Shakur. I like the over with his receiving. And Dalton Kincaid, I like the under with him. The Bills, to me, just have too many injuries on defense. They've got like 8 starters injured since the beginning of the season. And having Rashee Rice will be the difference for Kansas City. I like the Chiefs in this matchup. Just too many weapons. I think it'll be 30 to 24 Kansas City. What do you got, Brian?
I got 37-34 Kansas City.
37-34. We both agree Kansas City. So
what'd you say?
I say Chiefs 30, Buffalo 24. And going over, that is over. I think the over-under is 51.5.
Oh, yeah. All right.
There you go.
All right. Moving right along, we have the Seahawks going to the Washington Commanders?
Say it.
Redskins?
Yeah, Redskins. Always Redskins my book, and let's get it back. Sign that petition, folks. Yep, we got the game in Washington. This is the 8 o'clock game, 8:20, Sunday night. So a prime time game. And it looks like it'll be 48 degrees with a chance of rain. It's going to be a rainy weekend. Natural grass. I think we got Jaden Daniels back. We got the Seahawks with Sam Darnold, who is making another case for another, you can't say comeback player of the year, but maybe MVP if they keep going and keep winning. So what do you got for us, Brian?
Well, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Sam Darnold's, we used to make fun of this guy. And here he is, just proving us wrong. He's having a great year in Seattle. And who does not like Jackson Smith and Jigba? The dude's all money. Ohio State product, love him. Where I get a little weird is the running game. If you pay any attention to preseason, the new coach for Seattle was basically just Kenneth Walker this, Kenneth Walker that. We're going to feed him. And it's just not really happening that way. I don't think he's really taking advantage of his opportunities. Then he takes, you're sharing carries with Charbonnet, who's getting most of the goal line. So really, Walker's more of that 20 to 20, inside the 20s.
But this week, you think he's going to have a breakout?
Yep. I think he's going to have a breakout.
The Washington Commanders have given up 100 yards rushing every game but twice. And then one of the games they've given up 93. So you can run on Washington.
Yeah, and I feel that's where Walker's he's going to break a couple. I like him this week. He's been a disappointment.
Just a small guy. He's a small guy out there. I do think Jackson Smith and Jigba, though, is like the best receiver in football right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that. He's tearing it up. He's number one in our league. They played 7 weeks, and he's got 500-yard games. He's got 4 touchdowns. The guy will catch some balls. He probably leads the NFL in targets or receptions. I'm not sure, but he was a great route runner, and he can play in any weather. So I think he is probably. I've got him number one on my list rankings this week, which we'll go over a little bit. But
yeah,
I agree with
high on mine.
You're Smith and Jigba. Jaden Daniels. It's hard not to say he's going to be a good fantasy start whenever he plays.
I know. You got to have him there.
He's been struggling. He's having
the team's not the same this year.
It definitely isn't. It isn't something about it's not the same. Jaden isn't playing the same, to be honest.
No.
The receiving core isn't staying healthy.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin's being hurt. When I watched the game last week, I had high hopes for Deebo Samuel, and he looked average.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it.
He looks a little different this year.
He does.
In
He lost his swagger. He started off like gangbusters, and then he got a little banged up there a few games ago, but last week he wasn't breaking tackles. He dropped a ball and it was intercepted. It bounced off his hands. To me, he did not pass the eye test. He looked like he was washed up. I hope he can bounce back. I really like Debo, but
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think it's in him this week. I do. Luke is getting more and more targets every week. Maybe they need some target, don't they?
Because Scary Terry, he hurt his quad again in the game.
Yep.
And I was excited for him to be back.
Yep, and he's out. He caught that touchdown,
Yep.
the best catch of the year. Jeez. And they're going to need Luke this week, so I can see why he's on the list.
So I got Luke on the list, and then I got Zach Ertz more just because that's, you're losing all that wide receiver talent. You got to have that dump off, and Zach Ertz, he's like 60 years old, but he'll give you that.
Well, if they game plan the stop of Smith and Jigba, I don't think Cooper Kupp's really ready to take the load the shoulder, but this Tony Horton guy, the rookie from Colorado State, he's been injured the past couple of weeks, but he's got he's played 4 games and he's got 3 touchdowns. He doesn't get many targets, but when he gets them, he turns them into points. He scored double figures in 3 of 4 games in fantasy, so I like to put Tony Horton down as my sleeper in this game, just because they're going to need him. I think they're going to score. My final would probably be somewhere. I think this is going to be a tough one, but
yeah, it's a tough one to call. Sunday night too.
The crowd's going to be in Washington side. I just don't know, man. I'm going to say Seattle 24 to 20.
I'm pretty much right there with you. But I'm gonna say Jaden Daniels brings a spark. They're at home. They're going to pull it off. That's a long way for Seattle to travel.
It is.
I'm gonna give Washington the win. Luke McCaffrey catches a touchdown at the end of the game, and they go ahead 24-20. Washington wins. Redskins.
That would be McCaffrey's 4th touchdown, so he can do it.
All right.
There you go. You heard it here.
And finally, Rick, we come to Monday night. We have the St. Louis, Arizona, Phoenix Cardinals going to Dallas.
They always say last but least, I would say maybe in this game. Last but least. The one we've unfortunately not been looking forward to. We got Arizona traveling to Dallas in the Dome, so you know it's going to be good weather. Dallas, you know, we all hate Dallas. Admit it.
Can't
We all hate
stand
them. And your Dallas fans, yeah, on Sundays we hate you. Every other day you're probably pretty cool. But what do you got for us, Brian?
Well, I see this as a very high-scoring game. Dallas is almost a parallel of Cincinnati. They're almost the same team. They can't stop anybody, but they can put points on the boards. And they have 2 badass wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, that are just been eating. And one of the better tight ends catching touchdowns, Jake Ferguson. So I see all the way down the line, all of Dallas's relevant players scoring big in this week's matchup. On Arizona's side, it's a little bit tricky. Kyler Murray is coming back. Kyler Murray? Kyler, I think is, what was that video game that just came out that he had to return? He's done playing it? Doom or I don't know. No, we'll scratch that out.
Well, that's the kids know that one.
Yeah, the kids know that one. I don't know it. And I look for him to reconnect with Marvin Harrison Jr. I do want to point out one thing I've noticed about Marvin Harrison Jr. The boy does not know how to catch the ball with his hands. Watch him. He brings it into his body. Watch Jamar Chase, how he just plucks it. Marvin Harrison Jr., he body catches it. And you see him bobble it, drop a lot of the passes that he's dropped is because of that.
Do you know what Jerry Rice did to train to catch the ball with his hands?
I can only imagine.
He caught bricks. They threw bricks at him, and he would catch them barehanded. No gloves.
Jeez.
So, and that's how he trained. So maybe Marvin needs to start doing that.
Yeah,
if he's
maybe.
tough enough.
It's weird. I never noticed that when he was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
But it sticks out like a sore thumb. I drafted Marvin Harrison in every league I'm in, so I was expecting him to take that jump up.
I think he will.
I think he will too. And of course, you're always going to have Trey McBride on there, even though I don't have him on my rankings, but I have him here. I didn't really pick a sleeper, even though I could say that the running back Knight could be a sleeper because you're not really sure what's going on with that running game.
Yeah, they've played games with it. They
Yeah.
They actually released Michael Carter and then signed him back to the practice squad. So who knows what's going on? And I agree with you. I think Dallas at home scores. They score. Dallas on turf scores. You put Dallas on grass, they're a turf team. They really don't produce on grass. Dak Prescott at home, believe it or not, and this might be scary for the rest of the NFC East, but Dallas has only had 3 games at home out of 8 this year. So the second half of the schedule is at home for Dallas. But in those 3 games at home, Dak Prescott has averaged 300 yards passing and 2.5 touchdowns almost passing. So you put Dak at home with his, I think, probably the best 1-2 tandem. It's very, very well. And then
least
Cincinnati, I think, are very close. They're considered with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Of course, Lamb's been hurt, but he's come back and is picked right back up where he's left off. And you got Jake Ferguson going into last week. He was the #1 fantasy tight end until he had a big goose egg, and Tucker Kraft had a big game. So, but I still think Ferguson's probably #2. He's in a great offense. They're at home. I don't think the Cardinals are going to bring much of a rushing game. And I think it will be a high-scoring affair. Hopefully Arizona, St. Louis, Arizona, can keep up. Whatever they are this week can keep up. But I think Dallas is going to score a lot, just like you. I think it'll be another 32-21. 32-21 Dallas is what I got. What about you?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I got Dallas 37, and I got Arizona at 28.
I'm 32-21.
And you're 32-21. All for Dallas.
There you have it. And I really hope Arizona wins.
That's a wrap for the week.